They replaced me 3 months before my retirement. 34 years of loyalty, gone with one HR email and a smirk from a man half my age. He told me I was obsolete. 3 months later, his name was on the front page, fired, disgraced, and banned from ever working in engineering again. And the best part? He never saw it coming. If you've ever been underestimated, replaced, or told you're too old to matter, this story is for you. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Where are you listening from? Because what you're about to hear isn't just revenge. It's proof that experience doesn't fade. It just waits for the right moment to strike. My name's Frank Dalton, and for 34 years I worked at Harrington and West Engineering, the kind of company that built safety systems for oil rigs, power grids, chemical refineries, places where a single oversight could mean lives lost. When I joined back in the 80s, I was just a skinny technician with grease under my nails and more curiosity than sleep. I learned the hard way. Late nights, field failures, system redesigns. Every scar on my knuckles told a story about something that almost went wrong, and didn't, because we caught it. I built my career on one principle: machines fail. People don't if you design right. By the time I hit 61, I wasn't rich, but I had something better: respect. If something went wrong in the field, the question wasn't if Frank could fix it. It was when Frank would show up. Then Ethan Cole arrived, 32 years old, MBA from Stanford, tailored suits. That kind of perfect jawline that always seems to be smirking. The higher-ups called him the future of the company. When they introduced him as the new director of operations, I stood up to shake his hand. He gave me a look, that quick up-and-down glance young men give older ones when they've already decided they're better than you. "Frank, right? Heard a lot about you," he said, his grip firm but performative. "You've been here, what, since before the internet?" A few people chuckled. I smiled. "Since before overconfidence became a job requirement." He didn't laugh. At first I thought maybe I was just being sensitive. He was new, ambitious. Maybe he'd settle in? But the first time I realized what he was really about was during a project briefing. I'd designed a new safety override for a refinery client, a manual fallback that could save lives if the system's AI ever malfunctioned. Ethan walked in halfway through, coffee in hand, and listened for about 10 seconds before interrupting. "Manual fallback? Why waste time teaching people to press buttons when AI can do it instantly?" I explained that redundancy was the point. If automation failed, human backup prevented catastrophe. He smirked. "You're adorable, Frank, but this isn't the 80s. The future is automation." That word, adorable, hit harder than any insult. Over the next few weeks, the pattern was clear. Emails without me, CC'd. Meetings scheduled during my field visits. Reports I'd written presented under his name. He'd stand at the front of the conference room, polished and charming, explaining my systems, as if he'd built them himself. And when he caught my eye across the room, he'd smile. That smug, "thanks for the foundation," old man smile. I could take being replaced. I couldn't take being erased. But I bit my tongue. Told myself, "You're almost at retirement. Don't start a war now." Then one afternoon, Ethan called a strategy session. The whole department packed in. Engineers, analysts, interns. He stood at the head of the room with his sleeves rolled up like some TED Talk guru. "Team," he said, "it's time we evolve. The old manual safety systems are being phased out. From now on, it's full automation. AI fault response, predictive maintenance, self-learning protocols." Then he looked directly at me. Some of us might find that challenging. Polite chuckles rippled through the room. I kept my face still. "As long as the new systems meet safety standards, that's what matters," I said. He grinned. Oh, they'll be better than the old stuff, no offense. Laughter again. Louder this time. I forced a smile, but under the table, my fists were trembling. He didn't want progress. He wanted credit, and to get it, he needed me out of the picture. 2 weeks later, I found out through an intern, that my biggest project, the $18 million Westline refinery overhaul, had been reassigned to one of Ethan's buddies. No meeting. No explanation, just streamlining communication. That night I sat in my car in the company parking lot long after everyone left. Rain pounded the windshield, and I just stared at the empty office lights flickering off one by one. 34 years. Birthdays missed. Anniversaries forgotten. Weekends spent buried in blueprints. And now I was watching it all fade out through a wet windshield. I wasn't angry yet, just hollow. A month later, HR called me in. The woman, polite smile, careful words, told me my position was being retired early. Restructuring, she said. 3 months severance, a plaque, a thank you card. Ethan stopped by my desk that afternoon. Nothing personal, Frank, he said, clapping my shoulder like we were old buddies. You've had a good run. Time to relax, maybe go fishing. He winked. We'll handle things from here. I stared at him. He thought he'd won. And maybe he had, for the moment. But there's something about men like Ethan. They move fast, they talk loud, and they never look down long enough to see the cracks they're standing on. The first few weeks of retirement were the worst. You think you'll love it, sleeping in, quiet mornings, no alarms. But when your identity has been built on purpose for 34 years, silence feels like suffocation. Every morning I'd sit on the porch with my coffee and wonder if maybe I was obsolete. Maybe the world had just moved on without me. Then one night my phone rang. Frank? The voice was trembling. It was Maria, one of the junior engineers I'd mentored for years. Bright, careful, one of the good ones. She whispered, Did you ever look at the new automation system Ethan rolled out? I frowned. No. Why? Because something's off. It's flagging false safe conditions. We reported it, but Ethan said it's just software noise. Last week we almost had a pressure surge at Westline. The alarms didn't trigger. He covered it up. Silence hung between us. Are you sure? I asked. She hesitated. I think so, but I'm scared to dig deeper. I thanked her, told her to stay quiet and not to touch anything else. When the call ended, I sat there in the dark, the old instincts waking up like a reflex. You don't work in safety engineering for 3 decades without learning to feel when something's about to blow. And I could feel it. Ethan was sitting on a bomb. That night I sat at my desk, the glow from my old monitor flickering across a pile of dusty schematics and framed photos of past projects. I hadn't logged into Harrington and West's network in weeks. My credentials were technically disabled, but I'd built that system from the ground up. There were backdoors no one else even knew existed. A few keystrokes later, I was inside. Old habits die hard. The company's new AI system, CentraSafe, was supposed to revolutionize safety monitoring. But as I sifted through its logs, something felt wrong. The reports looked too clean. No alerts, no warnings, perfect safety scores. In real life, no system runs that cleanly. Not in a refinery, not with the variables of temperature, pressure, and human error. There's always noise, minor deviations, anomalies that need human eyes. I opened the raw data from the Westline site. My stomach turned. The pressure sensor had exceeded safe limits 7 times in a single week, but every single one had been marked as within acceptable range in the AI's report. The logs weren't wrong by accident. They'd been faked. My jaw clenched. I traced the code deeper, looking for the line where the manipulation began, and there it was. a custom script that automatically adjusted readings to stay within target numbers. The code was signed with Ethan's digital credentials. He hadn't just been reckless. He'd been cooking the data. That's when it hit me. He was falsifying safety metrics to impress the board. Efficiency improvement, he'd call it. He'd stripped away the redundancies I'd built over decades, the triple fail systems that prevented disasters, just to make his presentation slides look perfect. I stared at the screen for a long moment, listening to the quiet hum of my old computer. Anger would have been easy, but what I felt was colder, a steady, methodical kind of fury, the kind that plans instead of explodes. I spent the next week gathering everything: log files, internal memos, version histories, timestamps. I even documented how his AI improvements bypassed mandatory audits. Every night I backed up the evidence on a private drive. By morning I'd erase all traces of my access. Maria called again a few days later, her voice barely above a whisper. "Frank, people are starting to ask questions. Ethan's nervous. He told us to delete old backups." "Don't," I said firmly. "Don't touch anything. Just act normal. I'll take care of this." Now I wasn't naive. Going after Ethan meant going after the company too. And Harrington and West wasn't small. They had lawyers who ate whistleblowers for breakfast. So I didn't go in guns blazing. I went surgical. I called Robert Leyland, a state safety auditor I'd known for years. Straight arrow. The kind of man who'd rather lose a job than file a dishonest report. "Robert," I said carefully, "you still handle industrial compliance?" He hesitated. "Yeah, why?" "I came across something that doesn't smell right. Westline Refinery Centra Safe System." He paused. "That's one of Harrington and West's projects, right?" "Used to be one of mine," I said. "Now it's one of theirs. I think you'll want to see the numbers." He didn't ask for details. He just said, "Send what you have." I encrypted the files, sent them anonymously through a secure drop, and added one short line. "Start with the AI logs. Compare them to raw sensor data. You'll see." Then I waited. Days passed, then a week. I started to wonder if maybe I'd gone too far or not far enough. Then one Monday morning, while sipping my coffee, I saw the headline crawl across the bottom of the local news channel. "State safety auditors launch surprise inspection at Harrington and West." I nearly dropped my mug. The news anchor read the report casually, like it was just another bureaucratic story, but to me it was the sound of justice warming up its engines. At that moment, somewhere in that glass-paneled office I'd given 3 decades to, Ethan Cole was sweating through his $1,000 shirt. Later, Robert filled me in on what happened inside. The auditors arrived unannounced at 9 a.m., requesting live demonstrations of the new AI system and full access to maintenance logs. Ethan tried to charm them. Handshakes, jokes, confidence radiating like cheap cologne. But when they started comparing the AI's safe readings to the raw sensor data from the Westline refinery, the numbers didn't add up. "Mr. Cole," one of the auditors asked, "why do the logs show 0 deviations when the raw data indicates 7 pressure spikes above safe limits last week?" Ethan froze, then smiled. "Software glitch, minor display error." They asked him to demonstrate the live fail-safe system, the one that was supposed to automatically trigger a shutdown when pressure thresholds were breached. Ethan tapped a few keys, smirking. "See? Fully functional. Except nothing happened. The pressure simulation rose past its limit, and the AI did nothing. No alarms, no fail-safes, no shutdown." Robert told me later that Ethan's face went paler than drywall. The auditors requested the full system documentation, and when they found the disabled redundancy scripts, it was over. By lunchtime, the company's legal department was in panic mode. By evening, the board was calling emergency meetings. And by the next morning, Ethan Cole was escorted out of the building. His ID badge deactivated, his parking privileges revoked. The story broke 2 days later in the business section of the Daily Ledger. Director of Operations terminated after safety cover-up exposed. It wasn't front-page national news, but in the world of engineering, it was a nuclear blast. Harrington and West's biggest client terminated their contract, citing breach of trust and safety negligence. Ethan tried to blame his team, but the audit trail was airtight. His signature was all over the falsified code. A week later, I got a call from the CEO himself, the same man who'd quietly signed off on my early retirement. He sounded unusually polite. "Frank," he said, "we're conducting a complete internal review. We could use your expertise. Would you consider coming back as a consultant?" I almost laughed. "Consultant," I repeated. "Meaning I'd tell you how to clean up the mess the kid made?" He hesitated. "In a sense, yes." I thought about it for a moment. Then I said, "Fine, but this time I work from home. My hours, my rates, and I choose who I work with." He agreed before I even finished the sentence. When the contract came through, I stared at it for a long time. It wasn't about the money, though the pay was good. It was about the fact that the same company that had thrown me out like old hardware was now paying me to rebuild the integrity their prodigy had destroyed. Ethan, on the other hand, was finished. His name spread through the industry like wildfire, a cautionary tale. No one would touch him after that. From what I later heard, he lost not just his job, but his professional certification. A few months later, my name appeared in the company's public statement. Frank Dalton, the system's original architect, assisted investigators with technical validation. I didn't ask for it, but seeing it there, after everything, was like breathing fresh air for the first time in months. I wasn't rich, I wasn't young, but I'd proven something to myself. Integrity still matters. Ethan had the degrees, the charm, the buzzwords, but what he never had, what no shortcut can replace, was respect for the craft. When I walk past my old office building now, I sometimes see new faces through the glass. Young engineers, fresh ambition in their eyes, and I hope they learn sooner than Ethan did. That experience isn't an obstacle. It's the foundation that keeps everything standing. Because arrogance can build fast, but experience builds strong. And when arrogance rushes ahead, experience quietly builds the trap it'll fall into. If you like this video, share your thoughts in comment section. And remember, justice doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just waits patiently for the right time to strike. Until next time, stay sharp, stay humble, and never underestimate the power of experience.